In today's video, we're making jalapeno pepperoni sausage in the Bradley smoker. Hey. Bradley's smoking nice.
Well, I put a split ring on it. See that?
This is the sausage making kit that I'm using. It's a Wild West pepperoni sausage making kit. I got this at Canadian Tire. This is good to make 20 pounds of sausage, which is perfect because it's exactly what we have. So how to make it jalapeno pepperoni? I'm adding these jalapeno peppers and using the juice from this as well in my recipe. And there you can see the jalapeno peppers. Basically, I took them out of the juice and I actually dried them, added them into this ground burger, and you can see that I have fat ground in here as well. And I reserved the juice to add in the recipe. So there was 20 pounds of burger, and I chose to use 2 pounds of pork fat. Now, if I were doing this again, in fact, well, I will do this again. Next time, I will double that amount of fat. I would, with 20 pounds of burger, I would have used 4 pounds of fat. And of course, you could get pork trimmings in which you get a little bit of pork meat along with the fat. I really wanted to do that, but when we went to the butcher shop, all their pork trimmings were frozen, so I elected just to get fat because they had fat readily available, and so that's what I got. So here I'm just finishing up the grinding of it, and at the end the fat gets a little bit sticky, so there's a little bit of that left over, but that's not a big deal. So in that tray there, what we have is 20 pounds of burger with 2 pounds of fat, and the jalapenos have actually been ground right into that. Here you see I have the reserved pickled jalapeno juice. And the recipe calls for 1 liter of water. So you'll see here when I measure this out, I have about a cup, maybe just a little over a cup of this pickled jalapeno juice. So call it 300 mils, which means I'm going to use 300 mils of this pickled jalapeno juice with 700 mils of water to get your 1 liter. We're going to throw this into a big mixing bowl. And then we're going to grab our dry ingredients and whisk it all up, getting this measured right out here. So here's our dry ingredients. So there's a seasoning here that's all pre-done, and as well there is a small packet of a cure that's required in it. So this is all going into a big mixing bowl. We're going to whisk her up here. That's the cure. Just going to open up this little packet of this cure here. Drop him in there. Flick the last little bits of our seasoning in there. Now we're going to whisk this all up. So now we have our seasoned brine poured in to our burger, and now we're going to take just wearing disposable rubber gloves. We're just going to hand mix this all up here. Get the last little bit of our seasoning out here. So I just kneaded and turned and mixed and turned and mixed and turned it over and over and over till I thought I had it pretty darn good. Ooh, give a little scent there. It smells awfully nice. Now, this was running late enough in the day that I wasn't going to be able to get this into the smoker and into the casings this same day here. So I had decided that I was just going to get this burger all mixed, and it's going to now sit in the pan in the fridge and just soak up, even, you know, all the seasoning is going to be just soaked right into that meat overnight. And then tomorrow we'll pull this out, we'll stuff it into the casings. I don't have an actual sausage stuffer. I'm just going to use my my big bite meat grinder. So now with all that mixed up, it's just going to go in the fridge overnight. Okay, we're set up here now to start stuffing sausage. Alright, let's have a go here. So this sausage kit, it comes with a type of casing called collagen. And one of the things I learned right away here, number one, the sausage feeding tube that came with my grinder is not really long enough for these casings. The casings extend out past the end of the stuffer, so I had an issue with that right away. And what I figured out is I had to take each of these casings and actually cut them in half and only use half at a time, and that's just due to the short stuffer that came with this. And the second thing was the grinder puts out pretty good pressure, so in no time at all I found that I could easily split these collagen casings, and I had a few unfortunate splits like that. And you know, when it happened, there's nothing you can do except discard that piece and start over. What I found as well for this, I would tie the end where I started, and I would bring burger out until I had the length I was trying to get. Then I would stop the grinder from putting any more meat in, and I would just twist the casing to close it and cut it off with the scissors, and that's how I did it. And as you see, I'm just stacking them into these tubs, and again, I'm not going to have time to smoke these today. These are just going to go into these and sit in the fridge overnight again, right like this. And I don't have the proper way to hang this pepperoni in my smoker, so they're just going to be laid in on the racks horizontally like this. So here you can see how I tied off each end, and I would just make a simple knot and suck that knot down as tight, as short as I could on each the end of each casing. Once I would get the sausage filled to the length that I wanted, then I would just grab the casing and just give it a twist to close it up. You'll see here in a sec. So now I got the grinder running and the sausage is feeding into the casing. You just hold it and kind of control it. Anybody that's done this knows what I'm talking about. You'll see the sausage feeding out of the bottom of my hand there now. And I would just feed it until I had a length that basically was the length of one of my smoker racks, and then I would stop the thing and give it a twist here, right here, to tie her off. Just snip that off with the scissors. And when I was all done stuffing the casings, I had this bit of burger left over. And so what I did is I took that and I formed that piece of burger right there into a real nice patty and fried that up. And let me tell you, it was a tasty little bugger. And right away, the wife's like, "Oh, is that ever good?" We took some across over to the neighbors and they tried it and they liked it too. So as soon as you cook that burger up like that and it tasted so good, I knew the sausage was going to be good. So here's what I ended up with, as I said. I'm just going to put them in the smoker horizontally like this. I don't have any fancy way to hang them in the smoker. So now it's the next morning. The very first issue I ran into, that digital smoker wouldn't start until I brought it in and let the control unit heat and warm up. Yeah, because it was too cold in the morning for it. So we're just going to have ourselves a cup of coffee and we're going to get after smoking this pepperoni. So I started out using both smokers for this, and I found I had a bit of trouble with the old smoker maintaining the proper temp. it was much easier to control using the digital one, so I actually shut off the old smoker after a bit and just did all of the smoking in the new one. So there's what our finished pepperoni looks like. I can tell you it is delicious. It's got a real nice, real spice to it. Get quite a bite. Anyway, there's still some other, we haven't finished smoking all the pepperoni. There's still a bunch out there cooking. Just this one rack has been determined to be adequately cooked, so carrying on. Thanks for watching, and maybe give this recipe a try. There's not much to it.